Chapter 224. In the previous chapter, the Sea Crab King, while attacking a destroyer, was intercepted by the young chieftain. They were old adversaries from a battle over 3 years ago, where the chieftain had helplessly watched the Sea Crab King escape. This time, fate had entwined them once more, facing off on the Sea Crab King's home turf. The chieftain, with glowing eyes, grimly said, "This time, I won't let you get away like before." Meanwhile, the Octopus King could no longer maintain his amused gaze because his eyes were wide open in shock. Countless enormous spiritual missiles were heading straight for him. "Oh, don't be kidding. These spiritual bombs don't seem weak at all, and their number is quite overwhelming," he muttered. The next moment, his gigantic body was engulfed in a series of earth-shattering explosions, shaking violently as his tentacles writhed instinctively as if burned. Who was behind this attack? It was none other than Juel, who was straining every muscle and using all his strength to manipulate hundreds of enormous spiritual missiles, shouting, "Though humans are small, we won't sit still and wait for death." King Luo, one of the first to sign a blood pact with the divine tree, was leading thousands of his extraordinary warriors into battle. Leading the charge into the mass of mutated sea beasts, he roared, "Damn fools! Don't underestimate humanity like this." Elsewhere, the Islamic saint was standing alone in space, surrounded by countless monsters. Using himself as bait, the beasts lunged from the sea, intending to devour him. But then, countless blades of light appeared in the space around him. The moment of retribution for his over 300 holy knights had come. With a disturbingly excited expression, the saint muttered, "The time has come for the power of God to sweep them away." The horde of monsters on the ship suddenly paused, sensing that the entity ahead was not an easy target. Instincts told them they were about to become seafood. The green fish among them could not hide its fear. They were facing the Teutonic Legion of Europe. These knights were clad in ultra-thick and sturdy alloy armor, led by one of the world's strongest fighters. Of course, the number one was still Juel. The blonde knight raised his sword and shouted, "The blade of glory never surrenders to the enemy." And so, the battle on the continental shelf erupted with fierce intensity, rivaling the Great War on the coast. From afar, one could witness the countless flashes of light from the explosions of spiritual energy illuminating the sky. The Dark King, observing this, immediately knew that his marine forces were engaging with the human reinforcements. He turned and, while attacking, taunted the divine tree. "It seems your reinforcements are in trouble." The divine tree clicked its tongue, not out of concern for his plan, but for the losses humanity was incurring. They were fighting on the home turf of the sea beasts. When the assault began, the divine tree had not counted on any resources beyond Misty Mountain. The Dark King was unaware of this. He assumed that both sides had conspired to attack him. He dismissed the thought since he had never considered the possibility of his own defeat. He launched numerous humic acid beams, which were highly effective against the divine tree's body, piercing multiple holes through him. The Dark King suddenly asked, "How many forms do you have?" But he did not notice the golden orbs of light hovering around him. By the time he realized it, their numbers had increased dramatically. "Damn it, no wonder I felt feverish," he thought. "What is this trick? It doesn't feel right." Suddenly, the entire body of the Dark King and the surrounding space exploded. Those unaware might think these fire particles came from outside, but they spontaneously appeared in the space. This was the divine tree's technique, Inferno Storm. Despite the destruction, the fire particles continued to appear and fall, exploding continuously. The Dark King's face twisted as he furiously swung his tentacles to defend himself. At that moment, the divine tree controlled its roots, transforming them into sharp spears that shot towards the enemy's enormous eye. The Dark King, startled and horrified, dodged to the side. But there wasn't just one root. 5 other roots morphed into various sharp weapons, even transforming into a dragon. If the dragon bit down, it would immobilize the enemy. All the roots surrounded the enemy. The Dark King twisted and retreated a few steps, but he was already on the defensive. Subsequently, 9 roots struck the target simultaneously. Could anything withstand such blows? I think not. as each strike was fatal. However, the divine tree never underestimated its opponent. The attack combo continued with the ultimate technique, elemental branches. 24 branches started to create 24 densely packed spiritual energy spheres, each with different elemental attributes. This technique had previously made the prophetic whale cry out for its grandmother because no monster could comprehensively defend against elemental attacks. Thus, this technique, if delivered when the opponent had lost its defenses, would inflict devastating damage. Sure enough, these spheres were fired, piercing through the Dark King. A spatial attribute sphere directly penetrated his mouth, making the Dark King writhe in agony. He had never been hurt so deeply. The divine tree then raised its hand and clenched its fist. Thunder! A bolt of lightning shot through the dark fog and struck the Dark King. He screamed in pain. His entire body seemed to disintegrate. The lightning continued to strike down, and his screams grew more horrifying and woeful, resembling the cries of thousands of souls. The divine tree calmly said, "It's not over yet." The lightning continued to strike down. A purple streak of spiritual energy appeared on the divine tree's hand. This was the enemy's weak point that the divine tree had discovered. While the Dark King was still screaming, a spatial attribute dragon charged in, roaring. It opened its mouth wide, greedily attempting to swallow the Dark King whole. Immediately after, a terrifying spatial attribute lightning bolt struck the Dark King, causing his entire body to convulse wildly. The screams ceased entirely. At the brink of death, the Dark King's memories resurfaced. Thousands of years ago, a little girl was forced to be his companion. With her hands covered in the Dark King's slimy residue, she fearfully asked, "Why are you always so black?" "It's disgusting." The Dark King understood why he remembered the girl, but his gaze seemed to calm, and a sudden surge of rage filled his heart. The divine tree sternly shouted, "Return to your world." Unexpectedly, the Dark King shouted back, This is the world where I belong." His eyes were serious, as if he was no longer affected by the divine tree's attacks. The divine tree then saw him disappear right before his eyes. The space turned pitch black, and the Dark King's furious roar echoed. He reappeared in the distance and instantly generated dozens of dark beams shooting around. These beams were so sharp and powerful that they pierced through the sturdy bunker. The Dark King was panting heavily. One of his horns had broken off, indicating that he had taken a severe hit and his stamina had significantly depleted. Seeing this, the divine tree felt a sense of joy, knowing that the recent attack strategy had been effective. "Look at him, panting like a dying dog." The Dark King, panting heavily, remarked, "I never expected you to evolve so powerfully." The divine tree replied, "With you as my opponent, I had no choice but to become stronger." The divine tree then fell silent, observing the enemy, knowing that the battle had only just begun. The Dark King, deciding to generously reward the divine tree for his effort, said, "As a reward, I will share a secret with you." The divine tree remained silent, listening intently. The Dark King then revealed, "Like you, I too have a point of evolution." The divine tree's face darkened immediately. Damn it, could they possibly share the same system? This plunged everything into a web of conspiracies and countless mysteries. The Dark King activated his system, and a black system interface appeared. He claimed that his system also had a proper interface, perhaps similar to that of the divine tree. The system interface of the Dark King displayed a message. "Do you want to exchange 10,000 evolution points to buy the ability to regenerate?" Damn it, 10,000 points to purchase resurrection? Isn't that too cheap? This system seemed more advanced than the divine trees. No wonder the Dark King was so powerful. Grinning slyly, the Dark King said, "Agree." What happened next shocked the divine tree. Was this guy hacking? Darkness swirled around the Dark King, enveloping and reshaping him in the shadows. When the darkness dissipated, a newly evolved Dark King emerged, resembling Kokoshibo from Demon Slayer, with numerous eyes on his body and 6 on his face. The Dark King declared that the next phase of the battle would be a test of who could deplete the other's spiritual energy first. His system interface showed that he had 130 million evolution points remaining. Damn it, How could this be fought? It felt as if the divine tree was a skinny farmer wielding a hoe, charging at a wealthy landlord demanding justice, while the landlord was a strong man wielding a golden Gatling gun. This guy's entire body was covered in numerous eyes, all blood-red without pupils. Besides enhancing his observational abilities, these eyes probably concealed many other secrets. The divine tree immediately grew pensive. Damn it, this was a completely new opponent, rendering all previous intelligence useless. Though the Dark King had no mouth, he could still speak. He boldly declared, "I was born into this world, so my existence here is more justified than anyone else's." Suddenly, the divine tree's hand was pierced. What was that? The divine tree roared in pain. Damn it! Could this be an attack from those eyes? The divine tree heightened its vigilance to the extreme, shifting into its most brutal combat form. There was no time to waste. The divine tree needed to act immediately, hoping that a swift attack could negate the enemy's advantage. Time freeze. The divine tree knew this was the decisive strike. The need to kill the Dark King quickly was paramount. Prolonging the fight would play into the Dark King's strategy, decreasing the divine tree's chances of victory. 9 roots coiled together, preparing for a lethal punch. Suddenly, a strike flashed past the divine tree, disintegrating it instantly. The divine tree looked around in disbelief. Was that a tentacle from the Dark King? Time was supposed to be frozen. How could this happen? The divine tree couldn't believe it. At this moment, the Dark King's gloating voice echoed, "You've frozen time. So how can I move, right?" Indeed, the divine tree was puzzled about this. Meanwhile, the divine tree regenerated at supersonic speed. His system interface displayed, "Skill purchase, neutralize enemy attack, cost, 500,000 evolution points." So that's it, truly a wealthy being, flush with evolution points. The Dark King further explained that he also had a system that allowed him to purchase skills mimicking his opponents. He then unleashed a technique, 9 roots simultaneous attack. Damn it, he used his tentacles exactly like the divine tree's roots. The method of channeling spiritual energy was also copied. The 9 tentacles automatically sought out the opponent's weak points and struck fiercely. The divine tree was immediately pierced through. This attack was originally a deadly strike of the divine tree, meant to kill any enemy, as it simultaneously targeted the 9 weakest points of the body. Most of these were spiritual energy centers. When destroyed, they would cause immediate paralysis, rendering the opponent completely defenseless and resulting in instant death. Fortunately, the divine tree was a bizarre mutant creature with supersonic healing abilities, allowing it to withstand the deadly strike. Inwardly, the divine tree cursed, "Damn it!" There was nothing worse than being struck down by its own ultimate technique. At the same time, the Dark King noticed a sphere buried in the ground near him lighting up. Suddenly, multiple powerful golden spiritual energy beams shot through him from all directions. The unexpected attack made him scream. The divine tree had used a hidden move while the enemy was preoccupied with attacking. Now, it was unclear who would emerge victorious, as the divine tree seemed to be outsmarting the Dark King. After being hit, the Dark King's body was torn apart but rapidly regenerated. He remarked, well, I didn't expect you to manipulate light. It seems you're proficient in all elements except for spatial attributes." The divine tree responded honestly, "Unfortunately, I haven't mastered water yet. As for the dark attribute, once I defeat you, I will." By this time, the Dark King had completed his regeneration, which only took a few seconds. He sincerely added, "Oh, that's good to know. As for me, I have to purchase everything, and I can only use it once." Hearing this, the divine tree smiled. Why would he reveal such a secret? But the Dark King continued, "No matter what ultimate skill or innate talent, I can purchase and use them." Ah, that's problematic. Purchasing innate talents means having them forever. Suddenly, the Dark King gave a strange smile and said, "You might not be familiar with this, but..." The divine tree realized the surrounding space had changed. A giant cage enclosed both of them. The Dark King revealed that this was his ability, the purchase system. His eyes became more sinister than ever. He disclosed another horrifying truth to the divine tree. "Unlike you, I don't have to kill others to gain evolution points. As long as there is death, biological conflict, that death will automatically convert into my evolution points. The Dark King chuckled eerily and said, "Thus, my evolution points are endless." His body began to expand, purchasing Lava Body, costing 300,000 evolution points. His entire body transformed into scorching lava. Lava tentacles shot towards the divine tree like lightning. Clearly, lava was the bane of plant life. But this was no longer true for the divine tree. Still, at the Dark King's level, it was indeed deadly. The divine tree wasted no time activating its diamond body to defend itself. The scorching lava, enhanced by dark power, immediately burned the divine tree's body. However, the resistance of the diamond crystals limited the damage to a minimum. The divine tree roared, releasing a massive torrent of water that surged forward and instantly froze into ice, creating an ice age. The Dark King's lava was neutralized. From his forehead, the Dark King shot out a sonic blade. The sound waves quickly spread, shattering the ice blocks in front of him. He then eagerly purchased a skill for 30,000 evolution points, launching a gravity strike directly at the divine tree, pinning it to the ground and rendering it immobile. The Dark King continued to purchase skills, raising his hand to the sky. A pale blue lightning bolt appeared, crackling in the air. This was the divine tree's thunder skill, now copied. A terrifying bolt of lightning descended, piercing through the bunker and striking the divine tree mercilessly. At that moment, the divine tree was completely engulfed in the fierce lightning. The Dark King silently observed, the surrounding darkness spreading thickly. As the smoke cleared, the divine tree remained curled up, seemingly unscathed. Indeed, the diamond body technique proved to be highly effective. This did not surprise the Dark King. He calmly said, "Do you know why I wanted humans to fight against you?" The divine tree pondered for a moment before asking, "Why is that? Are you afraid?" The Dark King's face darkened with anger as he coldly replied, "It's because I despise every human. I want to deceive them and watch them fall into the abyss." Perhaps in the early years of his existence in this world, the Dark King had faced numerous misfortunes brought about by humanity. The divine tree was stunned for a few seconds, unable to comprehend why he hated humans so much. The Dark King sat down, hands on his knees, and said, "Izu, have you ever faced despair? I'll give you a taste." His eyes narrowed, and his entire body exuded an immense aura of death. Suddenly, the system interface appeared in a binary space, flashing chaotically. What was he planning to do? End of chapter 225.